of State for housing. So what would you like to see being done to speed up housing to get people get their finger out and things get underway? Back to the newspapers, Claire Muldoon and Candice Holsworth. Candice, no, actually, Claire, it's you. You're talking about new Brexit fingerprint checks.
Yeah.
So what are these?
So this is the front page of the Eye this morning. New Brexit fingerprint checks for UK travellers starting 2024. Is this more anti-Brexit narrative? Is this the discourse that we want to hear 6 months before the next holiday season, next year in 2024? UK travellers face new EU next year. It's only there. What's going on? What is going on? The government, through their visa control and passport service, has developed through an IT company the ability to read fingerprints. Okay, so first we had the eye-scanned passports available to us to pass through checkpoints and immigration, and that doesn't seem to be an issue. Why is it people who have passports find it difficulty and have to queue up to get into countries when we've got hordes of illegal immigrants coming in that don't need to queue at all? Something strange is smelling in the state of Denmark. Something just isn't right.
So you think it's deliberate obstruction, sort of?
Sort of thing, yes. It also seems to be, instead it means the main beneficiaries will be police and border agencies hungry for more sensitive personal data, and the IT companies that stand to make hundreds of millions of euros from the contracts for setting up and operating the system. Now, I don't know about you, but if you go to Australia or Canada and you need to get ETA or ESTA forms, right, it's an absolute... I can't swear on live TV, but it's really annoying to have to go through the process, because you would think your passport would be enough to say, yep, I'm a legal person here, I've got the ability to travel, and notwithstanding this 6 months validity on your passport either, that's an absolute crock of whatever as well. But however, it just seems more bureaucracy, more pen pushing, and making more money for the wrong people, and who's left paying the brunt of it?
What impact is this going to have on people's wait times? Because we see the queues, don't we?
Well, you say that, but I've not experienced any queues. There's people who don't experience queues. There is people who does, and there's people who doesn't. I think it just depends on the airport, on the time of day, and in fact how they're feeling if they want to man more desks. It doesn't need to be that way at all. Surely countries want people in so tourists can spend their money, have a great time, enjoy their holiday, and give 5-star TripAdvisor reviews instead of taking selfies at an airport, queued out of the thingy. Then you've got kids kicking off because of the time of the airports or the airlines or their flights. Scrap it all. You've got your passport, that's your ability to travel. Just let's get on with it.
Well, talking about travelling, we go now to Argentina, and we're looking at the moment a Boeing 737, let's say it, which was parked on the runway here. Heavy storms hit the country, and something hits the plane, or it spins, it begins to... it's not gripping there. I'm not exactly sure. And there's the steps to the plane. So I'm not sure if it's ice or something hit the plane or whatever, but it did spin round at that stage.
It was full of passengers, was it?
I'm not sure.
We don't know.
Not sure.
The plane began to
That would
rotate.
be quite unnerving.
Bad way to start.
Yeah, I mean, most people are nervous flyers anyway. Even if they say they're not, they're fibbing. So they are.
Some of the fingerprints might actually have been taken off and put on the seats at that point. So that new system would be invalid.
Yeah.
I saw some footage the other week of it was so windy at an airport that a suitcase came off the plane upright, or came off the trolley before it was loaded on, and just went travelling down the runway.
A life of its own.
Suitcase that was.
Oh dear.
Candice, you want to talk about babies of Gaza? Tell us more.
Yes, so this is Quite a sad clip. It is the conditions that the people of Gaza are living in right now as they're displaced, as they're being moved around while this campaign goes on. And in particular, this is a grandmother with twin baby granddaughters who she says are really suffering. They're having a tough time. I can't imagine having a newborn baby in those circumstances. Their mother is apparently unable to breastfeed them because she's not receiving enough nutrition. As a mother of very young children, I cannot imagine worse circumstances. It really is. As this protracts and goes on and further, I mean, you can see that the people are really suffering.
Yeah, and they're babies that they can't be fed properly. They're crying so much because everything is just so, because of all the noise. They have never been bathed. Their little lives so far, they've never been bathed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
Yes.
So, which brings me, I look at those scenes and we look at things going on around the world now, and then I think, so this is Christmas, and what have we done? Another year over, a new one about to begin, and all that sort of thing. I think if Christmas is to have any meaning going forward, it is not to be a commercial fest. It is to have some meaning to the whole religious aspect of this.
Clues in the name, isn't it? It really is. And, you know, regardless of your faith, if you are from a Christian country, I'm a practicing Catholic, so Christmas is a very, very important feast for me and my family. And I've always got the nativity. That's the first thing that's put up before the tree.
Well, no, it's very. I was talking to my kids about this over the weekend, and I was saying everybody seems to forget you hardly go into any house at all, except yours and mine, where you would have a manger scene. You would have a scene of the nativity, and that's what it's about. It's not about yo ho ho and Santa and everything else. That's a secondary type thing, but we've got to get back, and this country shies away from anything
It really,
Christian.
really does. It really does. It's become so secular. And we've had discussions years and years ago, even with Christmas ads, when they started to become non-religious or non-faith based. I was one of the first, look, we can't do this. Stop calling it holidays for a start. This is a very important Christian feast, and the sooner we get back to that, I think the better. I'm not saying everyone has to be a Catholic. I'm not saying everyone has to be a Christian. What I am saying, though, is, you know, have your moral compass set. Be aware that this is the reason why we're supporting this.
Okay.
And don't